Hello everyone, welcome back. Dr. Hassaan Tohid here once again, guys. And all those students who are watching me right now, please subscribe to this channel and comment subscribed below. So once you do that, I'll come back and comment and like your comment and reply to you as well. And I want you guys to subscribe to this channel for a purpose, because you guys will keep getting more and more videos, and I'll keep bringing more and more videos. And I want to make sure that I bring something new every time. And although it is not possible all the time, I know, but at least I can try my best to bring something new every time. And for all the students, just wait for me to share the link with everyone. I'm sharing my link with everyone, and let's do that. And I know we had a gap year last week because I was traveling. I was not here. I was traveling. So that's why we have this session today. And also remember, we will have another session this week to compensate for the missed session last week, because I haven't missed any session for past almost 2 years. The weekly sessions that I conduct, I have not missed any of those. So I want to make sure that because I was not present last week, so I can compensate the missed part. And today we are going to talk about a very important thing, guys. That is the 5 things you got to remember about systematic review and traditional review, mainly literature review. We'll talk about the literature review, main things you got to remember. Okay, so now let's begin. And please feel free to ask any question, because this is also the live question answer session for all the new admissions as well. So you can freely ask any questions, and I'm here to answer your questions. And of course, you guys can also contact me after the class, as you have my number already. So that's fine as well. All the enrolled students, I'm talking to all the enrolled students. Okay. And hi, Asma, how are you? Thank you for joining. And thank you for being patient. Last week we did not have session, and I feel it's been years since I haven't conducted a session. If I take a break, I feel like I have taken a long break, and it takes a while mentally to come back to routine. I don't know. I just love it so much that I cannot tolerate a week gap. It's just unbelievable sometimes. That it's been just 2 weeks, but it feels like years that I haven't conducted a session. And this is also an orientation session for the new admissions. So we will talk about this. And we'll talk about research. We'll talk about research writing. We'll talk about the basics of research as well. And let's begin. Hi, Megha. Thank you. Same here. My pleasure to see all of you. Are we ready? Please, guys, comment. I can see 10 people online already, but nobody's typing, nobody's commenting. This is very depressing for a person like me if nobody types. I can be depressed, guys, if I don't see audience. I'm a speaker. So if a speaker doesn't see people listening to him, he cannot perform. Yesterday, I was recording. Let me tell you a funny thing. I was recording a video for my YouTube channel, right? So that a non-live video. So I was recording it for my YouTube video, and I was just looking into the camera, and I was trying to do my best. But seriously, guys, I could not do it. I made so many mistakes, and when I watched the recording on my own, I was like, how bad I performed. My performance goes up when I have people listening to me. My performance goes up. And I think this happens to everyone. Talking alone when nobody's looking at you in front of a camera is so difficult, guys. So difficult to remain motivated. I need some people who are listening to me, at least a group of like 10 people minimum. If I don't see a group, I get depressed. Okay, and my performance goes down. And if you see, I have a habit of not using cliches and forgetting what I'm about to say. But yesterday in my recording, I was forgetting, and I was putting my energy into it, because having no students and nobody typing is so depressing for me. So it was difficult. It was difficult. Anyways, I am glad you guys are here today, and we are going to talk about wonderful things today and new people, the new admissions. You all will learn something today, and feel free to ask any question. But all the new admissions, first of all the new admissions, I thank you, Lumla. Thanks a lot. Thank you. You guys are wonderful. You guys are wonderful. You guys are amazing. Okay, and remember, for new admissions, everyone, please make sure you create an account on the website. Besides live classes, there are recorded material on your account. If you miss it, you will miss a lot of information. Okay, you will miss a lot of information. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. Okay, and everyone, please bring a piece of paper and a pen. Everyone who is listening to me, and give me a second. Let me turn the AC on. It's so hot in here. Give me a second, okay? I'll be back. And I'm back. Okay. Yes, now is better. So we have Prasanta, we have Lubna, we have Sargam, we have Saman, Azra, Chaya, Malik, and Bitaya, and Ritika. Thank you. Marhab, Spurti, Mirudla. Thank you. Thank you. So guys, first thing first, I want everyone to have is a pen and a piece of paper with you. Make sure you have a diary or a notebook, something like that with you. I keep them with myself every time when I'm looking or watching a video or a lecture. I don't miss anything. I don't miss anything. And remember the formula. I learned this. This was a life changer for me. Never trust your memory. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Deborah. How are you? So guys, never trust your memory. The rule number one, and this rule is for research as well. Never trust your memory. This was a life changer for me. I was so arrogant and so proud of my memory that I thought I don't need to write things down. And here I was wrong. It wasted 10 years of my life. 10 years of my life just by not writing things down. Because whatever I was learning, I keep forgetting, and I thought I have good memory. We all are human beings. We forget things if we don't take notes. So to study, research, this is very important that you attend the live lectures, but you also take notes. I know there have been teachers who say that when I am teaching, nobody will take notes. You will leave the class, but the students will forget. If they don't revise, they don't write it down, they will forget. Let them write down. Let them write down. So you need to take notes when I'm talking, when you are taking your live classes with your mentor, with your teacher, when you are attending the live classes, live lectures. Make sure you take notes. You have a lecture, a pen and a piece of paper, and also revise it again, replay it on fast forward, replay it. And for all the enrolled students, this is very important. The live classes you attend on Zoom and the live classes you attend with me, you watch the live classes and you also watch the recordings and you take notes and you revise them every day. If you do that, the research concepts and research writing will be embedded in your brain, in your mind. Now, remember, many people say I could not complete my paper. I can see the blurriness of the screen. Let's try to fix it. I don't know. Okay, I'll keep talking. Eventually it will be non-blurry. It will be clear. So just focus on the words, what I'm saying right now. It will be clear in a moment. It happens sometimes. When I go on the board, it loses focus. Hi, Javeria. How are you? Thank you. So guys, now this is important. Many people say, what are my chances of becoming a published author? What are my chances of writing a paper? What are my chances that I will become a published author for sure? Will I 100% become a published author? Many people ask this question. Many people ask this question, will I 100% become a published author? I promise you, if you take 100% responsibility, 100% responsibility of your career, of your life, the chances of your paper being published 100%. The problem is we have learned the helplessness. When we were young, we were held by our parents or our adult sisters, brothers, and everyone else did something for us. So we developed a habit that someone will come and help us out. So we learned a learned helplessness behavior, a behavior of helplessness. We think that everything else that is that needs to be done will be done by somebody else. Hi Jack, long time. Okay, so guys, remember, there are two kinds of people in this world. There is no question about it, right? Successful people and unsuccessful people. Successful people and unsuccessful people. What is the difference? Successful people take absolute responsibility of their lives. Everything that has to happen, you have to do it. Everything that has to happen, you have to do it. Nobody else will come. No superpower is going to come and help you and rescue you. Remember, guys, you are adults. No superpower is coming. No Superman is coming to help you and rescue. If you are struggling in your career, if you're struggling in your life, if you're struggling financially, nobody's come and take you away. I have a bad news for you. I have a bad news. Nobody is coming. No Superman exists. God will not come. Yes, this is a harsh reality I'm telling you, because God wants you to learn to do things with your own hands. Yes, Lubna, I will talk about the time management for research writing. In fact, since you have asked this question, we will discuss that today too. Okay, so I'll discuss that. Just wait and stay with me. Okay, so God wants you to be successful. He created everything with his hands, right? He created everything on his own. And then he created you, and he said, you are created in my image. Do what I did. Create things on your own. Take absolute responsibility and create. So nobody else will write paper for you. Bad news. Nobody else will take USMLE exams for you. Bad news. Nobody else will sit in the interviews with the residency director live. You will have to face it. And take absolute responsibility of your life. Remember, guys, I was a very irresponsible person. Extremely. You know, if there can be the greatest irresponsible person ever born, that was me. Never did my homeworks, never attended classes, always talking with friends, so sitting in restaurants. Even in the college, you are sitting in the restaurant and eating and wasting time playing sports. Irresponsible. And I used to blame the system. I used to blame the university. And when the exams came, I had bad grades. I had bad grades. And who did I blame? I blamed the system. I blamed the teacher. Oh, my friend, he was just like me, and they gave him good scores, but my scores are lesser, and the system is flawed. No, I learned this later, that your life will give you what you deserve. When I learned this lesson, I understood, okay, even if by bad luck something wrong happens to you, remember, the life does not give you what you want, the life gives you what you deserve. And then gradually my life started to change and change and change, and I learned wisdom, I learned success. I became a lifelong student of success, and I became extremely successful. I became extremely successful. And that successful that probably nobody of my age group has achieved that much that I have. I have led a project with residency directors, giving them the instructions how to write and everything, because my book, International Medical Graduates in the US, I don't know if you guys know about the book. My book came by the Springer Publishers, one of the greatest publishers in the world, and I was the lead editor, main editor, and everyone followed my instructions. Residency directors worked as a team with me. Many of them, many chief residents worked with me as a team, taking my instructions. And I was the most irresponsible person ever. How did that happen? I am the course director of psychiatry, right? I have been a course director of psychiatry for a great organization, as you already know. So, and so many other things. So all of this all happened. You know how it happened? I just changed one thing in my mindset, just one thing. If there is one thing that I changed in my life, was that instead of blaming others for my failures, I started to blame my own self. That's it. I understood the lesson of responsibility. I understand now, and I understood that so many years ago now, that the more responsible we are about our life and our career, the more success we will have. So if you are not completing your paper, many of you will complete your paper and many of you will not complete your paper, right? Those who don't complete their papers, they are irresponsible. That's it. They did not take responsibility of their lives and their career. Guys, remember, your life is in your own hands. Your life and your career is in your own hands. You know why palmists read our lines? I used to learn palmistry a while ago, and it was a very difficult field. So why do we read lines in palmistry? We read lines because it shows that our future is in our hands. And unfortunately, we leave it on autopilot because we think the lines are here, so we already have a future. So we leave it on autopilot. We forgot the lesson that lines on our hand actually means that you create your own future. Guys, if you leave it on autopilot, it will just give you what you already have, or probably worse, and you will just keep getting what the circumstances are making out of it. But if you take responsibility rather than irresponsibility, if you take responsibility, you can create whatever you like. Your life, I always say this, that your life is like a painting, and the brush of the painting is in your hands. But most of us leave it on autopilot. I did not leave it on autopilot. I understood that I have to do everything. I was blaming everyone. I was waiting for some miracle to happen. I was waiting for God to come and help me. But I did not know that God already gave me the message that you take absolute responsibility and I will do things for you. I'll do wonders for you. If you sow the seed, I will make a tree. You know, he has the wind, he has the sunlight, he has the environment, he has oxygen, he has everything, right? He just wants you to sow the seed. And he says, if you sow the seed, I will make a tree. Your life and your success is the tree that God will make, but you have to sow the seed. If you don't sow the seed, you don't take an action, nothing will happen. So everything about responsibility is taking action. Please do something, take action, write with your own hands, sit down and work on your paper. Remember, if we do twice as much, we'll receive twice as much. Nothing in this world can take it away from us. Very few people know this common sense principle. If you add 1 tablespoon, not teaspoon, 1 tablespoon of sugar in a cup of tea, it will be very sweet, right? If you add another tablespoon, how sweeter it will be, right? You keep adding more and more sugar and it becomes sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter, right? It's a natural law. It's a hidden law. The law is, if you do twice as much, you will receive twice as much, and nothing in the world can take it away from you. So if everyone else is doing simple work and you are doing twice as much work as in comparison to them, nature will give you twice as much. Sooner or later, nobody can take it away from you. Many people say, I did not match. Oh, I could not perform. Did you put your 2 times energy? Everyone was practicing residency interviews once a day. Did you practice twice a day? Did you practice 4 times a day? Try doing it 4 times a day. Nature will give you 4 times results. Nature gives you 4, 5, 10 times of results than everyone else. You know why? Because I put 10 times of energy. I take 10 times more action than others. And stop getting afraid of failures. Stop getting afraid of failure. The fear of failure is nothing. Fear of failure is nothing. Remember, failure is nothing. Failure is just a feedback by nature. Failure is just a feedback. If you have failed in USMLEs, if you have failed in your career before, remember, failure was a feedback that told you that this thing didn't work. It's okay. You learned a lesson, move on. Do you think I have not failed in my life? I have. What I did was I just increased the number of my failures. So your research paper will be a failure too, initially. So don't get scared. Let me draw a graph and tell you my life graph. Let's say this is my life graph, right? Behind me, this is a line. This line shows start of my career up till now. And this is becoming blurry and blurry. I want to make sure that I can show you this. But if it keeps getting blurry, it will be difficult for me to explain. So let's say this line, let me get this clear. You know, I will have to get a new camera otherwise, if this keeps repeating again and again. So anyways, let's continue. Don't focus on that. Eventually it will focus us. So this is it, right? Now remember, if this problem has occurred, nobody can fix it, but I can. No miracles will happen. I cannot just keep praying, God, please fix this camera. No, the nature does not work like this. We have to fix this camera issue. We have to fix these things. Well, this camera, I really like it. It is very good though. But for live sessions, sometimes when I'm on the board, it creates problems. Okay, so anyways, so now remember, this is the start of my career. First year medical school. And this is 2021 today. And let's say this is successes. And these are failures. You know, I failed. I failed in my life. 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 Luckily, I had one success. Okay, then I failed. Then I failed. Then I failed. Then I failed. Fail. And I actually finally got success because I graduated somehow from medical school. Okay, so when I graduated, I learned this lesson of success, that I was irresponsible, and I wish I knew this lesson way before. But nature teaches you the lesson when you are ready. So I think now you guys are ready to learn this lesson of wisdom, of responsibility, that everything is in your own hands. Then I realized that all those years of bad studies, bad grades, I was responsible. because I was not putting twice much of effort than others. In fact, I was giving lesser effort than an average person. And I thought I was doing a lot of effort. No. And that's a different story. Someday I'll talk about that in a life coaching session. So anyways, so one success, two successes is a graduation, then failure, 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 failure. Then I got a big success. After the lesson of responsibility, I got a big success. Failure, 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 big success. Failure, 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 success, success, success. Failure, 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 success, failure, 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 success, failure, 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 success, failure, 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 success, 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 failure, failure, failure. And the world now sees this, a very accomplished, successful person. Wow, what things he has. Look at his profile. He has this, 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 he has that. But nobody sees my failures, thousands of failures. Only I know that I failed, and I eventually became successful. My failures are 1,000 times more than my successes. So what I did was I increased the percentage of my failures. I increased the number of times I fail. I increased the things I tried. So the more things you try, the more you will fail. And of course, the more you will fail, eventually you will succeed as well. Law of averages will go in your favor. Law of averages will definitely go in your favor sooner or later. I mean, just imagine. If you have unlimited, if you have a dartboard game, this is a center, right? Dartboard center, and this board looks like this, right? Dartboard looks like this, and you have the darts, right? This is the dart, for example. This is the point. So you just pick this up and throw it in the center, right? If you have unlimited supply, of these darts, and you keep throwing the dart, unlimited supply, millions and millions, and even if you don't look at it, if you keep throwing, you will have failures. But will you not hit few of them in the center? Just by luck, even by luck, will you not hit some in the center? What's the answer? Yes or no? Please type and let me know. Yes or no? If you have unlimited supply of darts, if you have unlimited supply of this and you keep hitting, will you not by luck hit something sometimes in the center? Yes. So there is unlimited times you can try things. God has given you unlimited supply of energy, unlimited supply of resources, unlimited supply of success. Just keep trying, eventually you will hit. That happened with me because somebody taught me this lesson. A wise man. I learned this, I think, from Brian Tracy. Yes, I learned this from Brian Tracy, one of my mentors. I follow him. And he taught me this lesson. This was a life-changing lesson. If you have unlimited supply, keep hitting, you will eventually succeed. So why are you scared of failure? You should have thousands of failures. Only then you will have one grand success. I was scared of failure. I thought, oh, people will laugh at me. No, let them laugh at you. And why do you need to share your failures with others? Just use it for a feedback for your own self. So eventually when you will write your paper, you will produce a bad paper. You will then improve it. You will improve it. You have unlimited supply of energy and wisdom and hard work, and just keep making better, keep hitting, and you will eventually produce an outstanding paper. And same thing with anything in life. If you're applying for a job, remember this DART philosophy. If you're applying for some of you sent me a message that, oh, I want to apply for a research job or some kind of academic job that can pay me. How can I find a job? DART principle, keep applying. Keep hitting, keep hitting, keep hitting. You will eventually hit a center. Because unlimited supply is important, and nature has given you unlimited supply. Now you cannot blame God. God has given you unlimited supply, unlimited job opportunities. Keep applying, keep applying, keep applying, keep hitting, and eventually you will be hired. I did not believe that initially, guys. When I was of your age, when I started my career, I did not literally believe this. But I said, nothing has worked in my life so far. Why can't I just try it? And I tried it, and I got my first job. In just a matter of few weeks, I got my first job. I kept hitting, and I was called for an interview and I got hired. Then I tried it again for other achievements. Again and again, and I got so many opportunities, and here I am today. With CIBNP, I started CIBNP, you know, when I started CIBNP 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago. When I started, people literally threw rocks on me, you know. I started and we marketed, and people were like, oh, how can somebody teach research like this? And we got negative response. We got negative feedback from people. People abused us. So we failed. And our first website, if you see our first website, it was very, very bad. So we failed in everything. Eventually, we got our first student. We failed, 2 students, 3 students, 3 people, and failed. Our marketing approach failed. And eventually, gradually we learn. And now CIBNP doesn't even have to tell anyone, and people keep coming up. And we have so many students, as you guys already know now, the success story. Because I was not scared of failures. I knew that I'll keep hitting the dart and eventually it will hit. Same thing happens in everything in life. If you do not match this year, it's okay, apply next year. Now people say, I don't have money. Guys, forget about this excuse. Don't give me this excuse that I don't have money. Start working for, find a job. Even if you have to work at a store, even if you have to drive Uber. One of my students drives Uber, saves his money for his family. So you can do it as well. Drive Uber, work at a restaurant, work at McDonald's, work at Starbucks, do something, save money so that you can apply next year. Save money, even if you have to do 2 jobs, do freelance work, save money. The only thing that can stop you from matching is not having enough money to apply. You have unlimited supply. If you decide that I will always have money to apply for residency, match, and you are determined, sooner or later you will match. So many students of ours have matched after 10 years of graduation, 15 years of graduation. One of my students, she got pre-matched after 13 years of gap. Pre-matched. She was from Bangladesh. Because she knew there is unlimited supply, she kept hitting the dart. Does it make sense? Do you feel better now? So your research paper eventually, first of all, it will be a failure. You will feel like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. Oh, I'm not able to decide my topic. Initially, you will see failures, but take absolute responsibility and say out loud that I am absolute responsible for this paper and I am 100% responsible. Guys, remember, if your parents, your teachers have been telling you that you are irresponsible, then the chances of your publication are minimal. Remember this. If your parents are telling you, that you are an irresponsible kid, or you have been irresponsible, the chances of you matching are really slim. If your parents are really proud of you and they have been telling you that you are very responsible, your teachers are very proud, if your family members, I'm talking about good parents, some of you can have bad parents, I know, I'm sorry about that, I'm not talking about that. So just consider somebody else as your mentor or teacher. If any sincere person is telling you, if your sincere person is telling you that you are very responsible and I'm proud of you, the chances of your publication are 100%. If you're 90% responsible, the chances of your publication are 90%. And this is a huge percentage, by the way. Can you be 100% responsible? Absolutely. In fact, I remind myself every other day, probably sometimes every day, that I am absolutely responsible for everything in my life, my career, my finance, my family, my health, everything that is happening to me, I am responsible. Can you take absolute responsibility? And in fact, I don't use the word 100%. I say I'm 1000% responsible for my life and my success. If I fail, eventually I'm responsible. And by the way, tiny failures, I don't consider them as a failure. I say, lost a battle, lost a battle, lost a battle, lost a battle. Eventually you will win the war. Okay, lost a battle, 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 lost a battle. Eventually you win the war. War of your life. And who do you fight with? Your inner self. If you can beat your inner self, your laziness, if you can conquer yourself, you can wake up early in the morning to work hard without anyone telling you. That day you have conquered yourself. And this comes by taking absolute responsibility of your life. Remember, if you don't become successful in your life, only you are responsible. Because you had unlimited supply of dart. You had unlimited supply of dart, and if you don't hit, only you are responsible. You had unlimited supply. You were, or what you were, the only thing you were supposed to do is just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Eventually you would have hit. But you never believed in this because nobody taught you this. Or because somebody did teach you that. Somebody did teach you that, but you forgot. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, and you will eventually be successful. Keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing residency interviews, keep practicing. Keep writing your paper, keep writing your paper, keep writing your paper. Eventually you will write a perfect paper. But by the way, there is no perfect paper. Excuse my words. I will take my words back. There's no perfect paper. You can always write an excellent paper, but there is no perfection in this world. Remember, don't run after perfect paper. You cannot write a perfect paper. I'm taking my words back. You cannot write a perfect paper, but you can write an amazing paper, outstanding paper, and everything will always have room for improvement. Everything will always have room for improvement. Are you better today than you were yesterday? That's your challenge. The only person you compete with is you yourself. Am I betting better? Am I better today than yesterday? Am I becoming better today than I was yesterday? Am I better than last year? If your CV is the same as it was last year, July 2020, whatever you had on your CV, if the CV still looks the same, only one change or possibly two changes, you have messed up. The brush was in your hand. You should have doubled your CV by now, by taking more and more certificate courses, by having more and more publications, by having more and more first author publications. But it's okay. It's never too late. Now the next target is 2022. July 2022 will eventually come, right? Whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not, July 2022 will come, right? If the world survives. July 2022 is coming. So your task is that I will at least in 12 months, can I have 12 new things on my CV? Can I have at least 10 publications and 2 new courses on my CV? You are responsible. If your CV looks the same and you don't match, somebody else is matching, then don't blame residency directors. Don't blame the system. Don't blame the government. Don't blame the economy. Blame yourself that you did not work on yourself. People who worked on themselves, they kept working hard. They still keep improving. They eventually got it. So the rule number one, things to remember about research paper is responsibility. Take absolute responsibility of your project. Nobody else will do it for you. If you don't complete your paper, that means what it tells me, after dealing with thousands of students in so many years, thousands of students. In fact, I had been teaching before CIBNP as well, right? So I have taught thousands and thousands of people in my life. I can tell you after looking at your paper, if you are a responsible person or you are an irresponsible person. It takes me 5 minutes hardly, not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes. It takes me 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes, to see your paper, and I can tell that you are a responsible person or an irresponsible person. If you did not even complete your paper, then you are a 0% responsible person. That means you are 100% irresponsible. So anyone who does not complete anything, this tells me that nature will give him zero, nothing, because common sense. Common sense. I don't even have to say this. So if you complete your paper, even if it's bad, so I would say that some percentage of responsibility was there, that at least you completed your paper. But those who don't complete their paper at all, they disappear from the classes. Those are people who never took responsibility. They were always blaming somebody else. And there will be people who will blame, let me tell you a funny story. At CIBNP, we give you live classes. We give you recorded classes. You can watch the recordings of the live classes after the class. You can take notes. You can rewatch them. And you have 174 videos, probably 174 videos on your account. And we have some gift courses for you too, right? Do you know that? We have given you so much. We have given you lecture notes, ebooks, exercise book, and many other things. And let me tell you a funny story. One of the students, he did not complete his paper, and he told his friend that CIBNP did not teach us well. CIBNP did not teach us well. And he told this to one of the students. And the other student came and he told me, he showed his paper to me, and he said, this is my paper, and my classmate said this, but I disagree with this, and I have completed my paper. So I just smiled. I said, this happens all the time. People, because of their irresponsibility, they have to blame somebody now, because they were not giving the full energy, full focus to their work. So they have to blame somebody. If other people are writing and completing papers, so the funny part is this student doesn't know that I know. That's the funny story. The student doesn't know that I know. Still doesn't know that what he said, I know. But I just pray for this student that may God give him the responsibility, sense of responsibility. The day he gets sense of responsibility, he will complete his paper. He'll stop blaming. This person was like me. I was like this. I used to blame my university. Then some revolutionary things happened and my life changed. And I became this kind of student. Okay, so now you want to be this kind of student who completes the paper, or you want to be this kind of student who keeps blaming that we were not given enough material. And remember, you have WhatsApp communication with us. We remain in touch with you on WhatsApp. We answer your calls and questions all the time. What else do you need? So stop blaming. Until you decide your topic and you finalize your topic, don't stop texting me and your mentor if that is the issue. You take absolute responsibility. Second thing now you need to do is work on your basics. Basics of research. Second thing is basics of research. What do we mean by basics of research? You need to know what kind of studies are there in research world. There are only 13 kinds, guys. I would say 9 or 13. Let me give you an example. So basics need to be strong. Otherwise, you will not be able to write your paper. This is study design pyramid. I have discussed that before so many times, and I'm discussing it one more time. So at the bottom, we have in vitro studies. In vitro, actually the vitro, the word means glass. So the test tube research, we call this test tube research vitro research. In vitro studies. Thank you, Malik. You know, as I promise you guys that once you join this training program, it will change your life. I did not exaggerate. I meant it. If you attend my classes, if you attend these sessions, if you attend our course, and you keep listening to what I'm saying, it will not just make you a published author, but it will change your life forever. Giving you one more exercise to do after this class to do every day. Can you just close your eyes every day for 5 minutes and think that you're walking in the ward and you're going to patient's room taking history. You are walking in the hospital, going and taking history. You're doing your residency. Dream every day. Guys, nobody will tell you this secret. Life-changing secret. Life-changing secret. Dream every day that you are doing your residency. Until you match this, you know, physical exercise, they say you create your muscles. You create your muscles. I am telling you something so that you create your brain muscles. You dream doing residency every day, 5 minutes, and then increase it to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The more you dream and think about doing residency, the more chances of you getting matched. I gave this thing to give, and you know how spirituality works. We don't know how God works, how spirituality works. I gave this exercise to 3 of my students when we started CIB and PM Tech, talking about that time. That please dream every day that you are doing your residency. 2 of them matched the same year, and the other one I think will apply this year. He was young at that time. So all 3 of them match. Will match, of course. This one will match. He's such a talented guy. So dream your residency every day that you're doing your residency. Walking in the residency hall, in the auditorium, in the hall. You are doing lunch with other residents. You're wearing your doctor's coat, the white coat, and you have your stethoscope hanging in there. Maybe just do it. Wear it right now and hang it and just walk and behave like a doctor. Think about it. Think about a dream that you're doing your residency. And when those 2 students matched, one got into neurology and the other got into psychiatry. When they matched, you know what they told me? That we used to dream that we are walking and doing certain things, and the same thing exactly happened in the hospital. It looks like we already knew it was going to happen. So this is called law of attraction. I'm telling you the secret. Open secret, everyone knows this. All successful people know this. Do you think I achieved everything without dreaming? No. Dream with, not while sleeping, dream while awake. Dream about your residency and it will become a reality. The more you dream with intensity and feeling, the faster it will come to you. And brighten the image in your brain. When you think about doing something, it is usually blurry and dark, right? It is blurry and dark. So it's normal. Initially, when you start to think about residency, it will be blurry and dark, but start to imagine, increase the light intensity. Make it brighter, 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 brighter. And now start to feel as if you really are doing it. It will become a reality. We don't know how it works, but it works. And you don't need to know how it works. Just do it. There's nothing to lose. Okay? Nothing to lose, right? What if you dream about it and it doesn't happen? It's okay. Nothing to lose. You still don't have residency, right? So nothing to lose. Try it. That's how I became successful. I said, I have nothing to lose. I don't have anything. Let's try what these people are saying. And it eventually worked. I said, wow, that was true. So the basic concept, increase your strength in the basic concept of research. You should know the kinds of studies, all possible kinds of study designs. If you don't know them, you will not be able to write your paper. You will not be able to write a good paper. You will still be able to write paper without basic, but it's better if you know the basics. Your paper will be of very high quality. In vitro test tube research, animal research. In vitro research, animal research comes after that. Then comes the ideas, opinions, and editorials. Ideas, opinions, and editorials. The next thing after that is case reports and series. Then the next thing that comes is the 3 C's. The 3 C's. 3 C's. These are 3 C's of observational study. You know, you have heard this word observational study, observational study, observational study. These are observational studies. Cross-sectional study, case-controlled study, and cohort study. Cohort studies can be of 2 types. Prospective, you go into the future, and retrospective, you go into the past. Case control, you always go into the past of a patient. How do you go into the past? You check the clinical records. You check the clinical records, electronic medical records, documents, case reports and series. Case reports and series. What is case report? When you are studying one person, when you are studying multiple people, one group of people, you don't have multiple groups, you don't have 2 groups, you don't have a control group, that's case series. When you have just one person, it's case report, case study. Cross-sectional is the prevalence study. We call it prevalence study, or a snapshot. What is happening one point in time? Cross-sectional study. Usually, they are survey studies. Survey studies are of 2 types actually. Survey studies in which you stay in one point in time, and one in which you stay in multiple points in time. If it's multiple point in time, we call it longitudinal study. Okay, so let's bring cross-sectional and longitudinal here. You must have heard these words. So basic should be this strong that you should know all the terminologies. Cross-sectional study, or longitudinal study, same thing. They are survey studies. It's just a time difference. Case control, you go into the past. Cohort, you go into the past or you go into the future. You follow up. In all three of them, cross-sectional, case control, cohort, they are called observational studies because you don't have any intervention. No intervention. No intervention. What does that mean? It means the scientist who is doing the experiment does not give any medication to the patient. In simple words, does not give any medication or did not manipulate the environment in any way. Because intervention does not always mean that you are just giving a medication. If you give a glass of water and you look at the effects of that glass of water on patients, that is also an experiment. That is also a clinical trial. So when the scientist does not give anything to the patient, that's called observational study. In easy language, I'm saying, remember, actually it's more to that. There's more to that. Observational study means when there is no intervention, when the doctor or the scientist does not give anything to the patient. They just observe, that's observational studies. But the moment they give anything to the patient, it's called as clinical trial. Clinical trial. This concept is very important before you start to work on your systematic reviews. So when you will look at the study, see if the patient was given something by the scientist. If yes, then it is a clinical trial. And clinical trial has three names. So don't get confused when you look at the papers. Don't get confused. Clinical trials have three names. What are the three names? Number one is experiment. Yes, the most common word, experiment. Most common word in the world, in the scientific world, right? Not in the world, in the scientific world. Experiment is the most common scientific word. It means clinical trial. Second word is, of course, clinical trial. The third word is interventional study. So if you hear any of these three words, they are one and the same thing. Don't get confused. Here people get scared and they get confused and they start to hate research. That, oh, they are calling it experiment. I just know about clinical trial. What is that? Oh, I just know about clinical trial. What now? Here they're talking about interventional study. One and the same thing. And clinical trials are of two types. That means experiment, clinical trials, or interventional are of two types: randomized control trial, a non-randomized control trial. What do we mean by that? When you will read papers, you see if they did the patient selection, sample selection in a randomized way. Did they do randomization? That's all you need to know right now. I'm not going deeper into clinical trial, but one day I'll do that. Maybe next week, maybe probably following week. I'll go deeper in the study designs. So remember, if the patient sample, the sample was selected after randomization, it is randomized control trial. If the randomization was not done, it was non-randomized control trial. You need to know the difference. If you can differentiate, you can easily write your systematic review. You can easily apply the quality appraisal tool. You will know which quality appraisal tool you will apply to which study while writing your papers. And even for literature review, simple literature review. And the next thing is, What is on the top? Systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis. The highest quality of evidence in the world is systematic reviews and meta-analysis. And they are on the top. That's why they are on the top. So the studies at the bottom are the weakest study designs. Studies on the top are the strongest research designs. Studies at the bottom are the weakest study designs, and studies on the top are the strongest research designs. Does it make sense? Why some studies are weak and why some are strong? Because of two things. Bias. That means the studies that are at the bottom have more chances of bias. They have less chances of bias. Because you become more and more systematic and less chances of bias. And the studies at the bottom have less relevance to human treatment. So studies on the top are more relevant to human treatment. The studies at the bottom are less relevant to human treatment. So it's about two things, human treatment and biasness. So studies at the bottom are weaker evidence because they are lesser related to human treatment or relevant to human treatment. And studies on the top are strong because they are strong because they are more relevant to human treatment. So the first thing first that I cannot emphasize it more, the biggest lesson in the world is a lesson of responsibility. Stop blaming, take your life in your hands, because the life literally is in your hands. Create your own life. Write your own paper, complete it. If you don't complete it, you are responsible. If you don't complete it, you are responsible. If you complete it, you are responsible. If you complete it, that means you are a responsible person. If you don't complete it, it means that you are an irresponsible person. Irresponsible in terms of your career and your life. That means you are not sincere to your own life. Forget about becoming sincere to other people. If you are not sincere to your own self, if you cannot give priority to your own life, if you are not your own first priority, remember, having your own self as your first priority does not mean that you are selfish. Manipulative people will accuse you if you focus on yourself and you say, let me work, I don't have time for these things, I don't have time for family issues, I don't have time to resolve family fights or relatives fights or these issues XYZ, I don't have time for all this rubbish. And people will say, oh, you have become so selfish. Remember, those are manipulative people. Stay away from them. Manipulative people, they will drag you and make you irresponsible like they are themselves. You yourself should be your first priority. You say, I am my first priority. My career is my first priority. I need to give maximum hours to my own self. 6 to 7 hours of sleep and then the remaining hours on my career. You don't have time to do anything else, guys. Give yourself the most time. Eventually, when you will achieve everything, then you will have time for your family and other stuff. But still, don't engage in family politics and all those. Every family has negative people, right? So don't engage in those things. People will accuse you when they see you are being responsible and you are focusing on your career, you're focusing on your USMLE, you're focusing on your paper, you're focusing on your career. Some people will try to drag you down. In your family, unfortunately, they will say you have become so selfish, you just think about yourself. Manipulative people say this. You take this accusation, say, yes, I myself, I'm my first priority. When I'm accomplished, I have achieved everything, I'll take care of you. Remember, in the airplanes, you all have traveled, right? Hopefully. And when you come to the US, you will see in the airplanes, they say, under the circumstances of low oxygen, the oxygen mask will drop. First, put the mask on yourself and then help the children. Why? Isn't children's life important? Isn't children's life important? Is it a child's life important that is right next to you? Absolutely. But why do they say that first put mask on yourself? Because when you are stable, you can help others. If you are not stable, you cannot put oxygen on the kid's mouth. So anyone who says that you have forgotten about your family, you have forgotten about your friends, and many friends will try to manipulate you. Oh, no time for friends now. You are so focused on your career. Okay, you have become so selfish. You say no. In the airplane, they say put the mask on yourself first, then you put mask on others. So I am putting mask on myself. I want to make myself financially, career-wise stable. Once I'm stable, I'll be able to help you. Then I will have plenty of time for you. But not right now. Not right now. Your time will come. Put mask on yourself. Take responsibility of your life. You are your first priority. Your career, your residency, your publication is your most important priority. And remember, when you know for sure that your first author paper is going to give you plenty of interview calls, why are you not doing it? When you 100% know, common sense, that when you have a publication done, you will complete your paper, you will publish it, you will get plenty of interviews, and you will impress residency directors, the chances of your matching are really, really high just because of that publication, then how can you ignore that? Guys, single most important thing after your scores that can get your residency is your first author paper. Single most important thing. Your first author paper. Some people say, oh, I'll get second, third, fourth author. Guys, those are not publications if you don't have a first author paper. Nobody cares about that. But the moment you have first author paper, everyone will care about your second, third, fourth author papers. Okay? Now, the second thing was you strengthen your basics. Once you have a strong basic, then now you decide what kind of paper you will write, what kind of review article will you write. You can write sitting home, right? You have 3 options, maybe 4 or 5 options. Let me discuss that with you. Main 4 common options. Literature review, simple traditional review, systematic review, and the last one is meta-analysis. Okay, and in between there is a scoping review. In this training program, in 2 months of research training program, you are not learning meta-analysis. You are just learning these 3. Traditional review, systematic review, scoping review. What is the difference? But by the way, let me tell you a good thing. I'll still give you a great information, great detail about meta-analysis as well gradually in this training, so that you also know about meta-analysis and you can talk a lot about meta-analysis in the residency interviews and impress the residency directors. The residency director should say, wow, what a person. When they meet with you, this is what they should say. If they don't say this, wow, what a person, you haven't impressed them. And how will you be able to do that? If you prepare for your residency interview. How often do you prepare? Have you already started preparing, or you will start preparing after September 29th? You should start to prepare today. Start to prepare today. Get the most commonly asked questions. I have a video of most commonly asked questions in residency. My video on my YouTube channel. I've given everything there. You have the exam paper out. You know, if you have the exam questions already in front of you, how can you fail? Same thing with residency interview. You have all the questions in front of you. You know what they're gonna ask. They just wanted to see your personality, your confidence. If you cannot show it to them, when you already had the questions out, Stop getting scared of residency interviews. Practice, practice, and eventually you will be very brave during the interview. You will perform really well. So different kinds of review articles you should know: traditional review, scoping review, systematic review, meta-analysis. Traditional review is a simple essay kind of paper. So do you want to write that kind of paper? With just like an essay, you have introduction heading, method, results, discussion, and conclusion heading, and you write a paper down by collecting papers from previously published papers. So now this is very important. Review articles, first of all, you need to know what review articles are. Remember, in layman's language, review article means you combine previously published papers and write one paper, combining all the information in previous papers. That's it. This is a review article. All four do the same thing. Let's say there was a paper published. Let's say this is a paper published in 2018 about a topic on Parkinson's disease and smoking. Another paper, Parkinson's disease and smoking, published in 2017. Another paper, and then there were 3 papers published on smoking and Parkinson's disease. So total 5 papers, maybe, and gradually you see in last 5 years there were 50 papers published like this. So what you do, you combine information from this paper and this paper and this paper and this paper and write one paper. That this is what has been done so far. That's called a review article. Does everyone understand now what a review article is? So the third thing is decide what kind of review article you will write. So it's simply traditional review is written like an essay, no guidelines, you don't follow any guidelines, you don't create like a systematic approach. Now just come to systematic review. I'll come to that later. Systematic review, that is highly, highly loved by residency directors. Everyone, open your eyes here. Focus, 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 everyone. Everyone. Focus, focus, focus. Listen to me. The residency directors love which kind of papers? Highly, highly, highly. They love this. Which kind of paper do they love the most? Systematic review. And of course, meta-analysis. Systematic review and meta-analysis. If they see systematic review published, so wow, what a student. First author paper, systematic review published at such a young age. What a person. Same with meta-analysis. Oh my goodness, meta-analysis. So I'm telling you something that will impress the residency director the most. Systematic review. Residency directors love it. Residency directors love it. What is the difference between systematic review and traditional review? By the way, traditional review has another name. What's the second name of traditional review? Anyone can tell me? Literature review. Literature review. Literature review. Now, systematic review and literature review, what is the difference? It is not written like an essay. This is done systematically. Systematic review means you are creating a system. You are creating a system, a machine. Yes, you are creating a system, a machine, that you are writing a paper in that systematic format that if anyone repeats it, he should get the same results. Does it make sense? If anyone repeats it, should get the exact same results. Now remember, if I give you a task, all of you who are watching me right now, if I give all of you a same topic to work on, let's say effects of depression on heart, although that is a topic I would say stay away from because this is so common for a review article. Stay away from that topic. But I'm just talking to you as an example. As an example. So let's say the topic is depression and heart. I give you all a task to write a literature review on depression and heart. All of you will be able to write it, but all of you will probably have different results, will have a different structure, will have different conclusion. All papers can have different results. But if I give you a systematic review, and if I look at a systematic review and see that was published in 1980s, and I follow all the steps that were followed by that systematic review, all the way, by the way, in 1980s, systematic reviews were not that common. Okay, they are new. Meta-analysis and systematic reviews are relatively new. Okay, so systematic reviews, if I see a systematic review published by somebody and I follow the same steps that he mentioned in the method section, I will get the exact same results. Everyone who follows the same steps will get the exact same results, exact same studies, exact same results. We are creating that kind of system. So systematic review is a little complicated and a little difficult in comparison to traditional review. So you're creating a system. So how do you create a system? You follow certain guidelines. PRISMA guidelines. PRISMA stands for Preferred Reporting Items for Systematic Reviews and Meta-Analysis. So PRISMA guidelines, you follow PRISMA guidelines. Once you follow PRISMA guidelines, you will be able to, once you follow PRISMA guidelines, you will be able to write your paper. You will be able to create a system. So you follow PRISMA guidelines, but here, do you follow any guidelines? No. There is one guideline, optional guideline, SANRA, but you don't have to use it if you want to use it. SANRA. 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 Not Sandra. Not Sandra. SANDRA. No. SANRA. SANRA. So you create a system in systematic review by following PRISMA checklist, PRISMA guidelines. PRISMA is a checklist of 27 points. Is a checklist of 27 points. And which PRISMA? The latest one, 2020. PRISMA checklist 2020. You follow it, and then you also have robust inclusion-exclusion criteria. You create an inclusion-exclusion criteria, what studies to include and what studies not to include. And then at the end, you do the quality check of the studies that you included, quality assessment, and then you write the paper down. In traditional review, you don't check the quality. You include all kinds of papers, good, bad, high quality, low quality. So your traditional review could be in the middle, good paper, bad paper mix. But systematic review will have the good quality studies. And you will learn all this during this training. Don't worry about it. Gradually, every week, you will learn each of these steps. And you will be an expert in systematic reviews. So quality assessment is not done in traditional review, but is done in systematic reviews. And then you're right. Now, scoping review is also written in the exact same manner. Same PRISMA for scoping review. They have a different guidelines, PRISMA for scoping review. Okay, and you don't do the quality check. No quality check. The reason you do scoping review is it's a little bigger than that, traditional review, a little powerful than that, because you are making it in a systematic format. You're creating a system here as well, but you are including bad and good studies, all the studies together, because it's a little broad. Here, the research question is a little broad. Here, research question is a little broad. Here, you have a narrow research question. In systematic review, you have a narrow research question. So you're actually answering a question here. Here you are exploring a topic. There's a difference. Listen to me. This is very important. Here you're exploring a topic, that what has been done. Here you're also exploring the topic, what has been done. Here you're answering a research question. Here you're answering a research question. Scoping review is actually a precursor to systematic review. We write scoping review to see if there is enough information, enough material, and can we write in a systematic format. And in the end, we realize that can we eventually write a systematic review or not? So that's why it is done. That's why it is done. You don't have to worry about it unless you really want to do that. If you want a unique kind of profile, that you have a traditional review, scoping review, systematic review, and meta-analysis, all of them published, it will be a great accomplishment. Okay. So traditional review, no quality check. Scoping review, no quality check. Systematic review, yes, quality check. Yes, 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 yes. And now what is meta-analysis? Systematic reviews, they become meta-analysis. Yes, any systematic review, if it's statistical in nature, if there are numbers involved, then that these many numbers involved, that now you have to use statistical data analysis software, then you don't call it a systematic review, you call it a meta-analysis. So remember, you can, in easy words, you can remember like this. Systematic review is like a master's degree. Master's. And meta-analysis is like PhD. You cannot do PhD without master's. Every PhD was actually a master's. But not all master's candidates go on to do PhD. Some people are so happy at being masters that they don't want to do PhD, right? So that's what it is. That's what it is. Masters, systematic review. Remember, every meta-analysis is actually a systematic review first. Every meta-analysis is actually a systematic review, but not all systematic reviews become meta-analysis. And meta-analysis is when your systematic review becomes statistical in nature. When it becomes statistical, that's statistical that now you have to use software like Review Manager. Review Manager is a name of a software that you use. You will have to eventually learn it if you learn meta-analysis. So just letting you know, you don't have to worry about this right now. This is not even in the curriculum, but I'm just telling you some extra things. That meta-analysis is possible if you have written a systematic review and your data is so numerical in nature, it's so quantitative that now you have to do data analysis. And also, if you have similar studies on one topic, then it will highly likely be a meta-analysis. You have to do statistics. That's why while writing systematic review, include all kinds of studies related topic. Try to include different kinds of studies. If you include different kinds of studies, then it will remain a systematic review. So this is the thing that you decide what kind of article you write. Now, last 2 points for today. Last 2 points for today. Point number 1 was take responsibility. Promise yourself that you will take absolute responsibility, and today is a new life you have been given. That you have started to say this to yourself, that I am absolutely responsible for everything that has happened to me in my life. Everything that has happened to me so far in my life, I am responsible. Nobody else is responsible. We are responsible for whatever has happened to us. People do hurt us, people do harm us, but if you are responsible, we get out of it. Okay? So don't blame anyone. That, oh, I had a bad childhood, I had an abusive relationship, oh, my husband is really bad, my wife is really bad. Don't do that. If you are responsible, you will become successful despite of all these difficulties. If you're irresponsible, you have a reason to blame others. Every successful person who has accomplished anything in life, they had some kind of problems in their lives. One of our students, she became published author, and at the same time, she was diagnosed with a very serious disease. And she became a published author. And many of our students got COVID during their course, and they still became published authors. Okay, so take absolute responsibility of your life and your career and your paper. Second thing is improve your basic concept, read about study designs. I created that triangle, the pyramid, read about study design pyramid, read about different kinds of studies. You should know how to differentiate between different kinds of studies. You should know what is a clinical trial. What is randomization? You should know this. Third thing is you should decide what kind of review article you will write. Fourth thing is data collection, where to collect data from databases. What are databases? Databases are websites like PubMed. Write down the names. PubMed is the most common database. It actually is an interface to Medline. Medline is a database, and you extract Medline papers through PubMed. So PubMed and Medline are interchangeable, are one and the same thing, you can say. Very complicated to explain because Medline is a database and PubMed is an interface. So PubMed and Medline are the same thing, more or less the same thing. You can find all Medline papers on PubMed. So PubMed is a website. So databases, when you hear the word database, don't get scared. Databases actually mean PubMed, the websites where you will find data. Most common one is PubMed. Second one is PubMed Central. First one is PubMed. Second one is PubMed Central. The third one is, write these names down. PubMed, Medline, PubMed Central. Web of Science. Web of Science. Web of Science is one of the biggest databases because it has all other fields as well. PubMed usually has just healthcare papers. PubMed has healthcare papers, but Web of Science can have variety of papers. What else? Embase, EMBSA, EMBASE, Embase. Embase. Next one. After Embase, what is the next one? Science Direct. Science Direct. What is the next one? PsycInfo. Psychology, PsycInfo. Psychiatry, PsycInfo. PsycInfo. The next one is Cochrane Library. Cochrane Library. And the next one is CINAHL. 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 So these are the websites where you will search data. And where can you find full free papers? PubMed Central, Science Direct. Google Scholar is the last one you will ever choose. Papers have been rejected because some students used Google Scholar as one of their major databases. That should be your last one. You will use at least 5 databases. Google Scholar will be your last option. So now remember, go to Wikipedia or go to simple Google and type list of electronic databases. List of electronic databases, and an article on Wikipedia will appear. Read that article and it will tell you which databases are free. That means where can you find free full text papers. Rely on those databases. You can find free full text papers easily. StrokeNet. StrokeNet, I don't know about StrokeNet actually. I'll see what it is. Ovid, no, Ovid, just use the databases from the list. Check the list I mentioned on Wikipedia and decide which ones are the free ones and you can use them. Out of the names I mentioned, PubMed Central is free, Science Direct is free. That means you can have full papers available. Other than that, on other databases, you will just find abstracts and titles. So you decide the databases, you do your search strategy, and the fifth and the last thing you need to remember is Don't rely on just one database. It can be lethal for somebody. People have made this mistake. If you just rely on one database, you can actually find negative findings, although there were positive findings. So you can mess up somebody's life. That's why it is important, not only for the purpose of writing a good paper, but actually serving humanity, for saving people's lives. Rely on multiple databases. One database can give you false information about an intervention that can kill anyone. That's why don't rely on just one database. Always rely on multiple databases. And that's it for today. And these are the 5 points I wanted to discuss about literature review, that you take responsibility, learn the basics of study designs, and then you decide what kind of study design you will choose to write. And then you decide the databases from the list, and then don't rely on just one database. Now, one last thing about time management. The question was asked about time management. Lubna, coming to that question. You asked this question, so I'm telling you the solution. Remember, time management is life management. Just create a checklist of the daily tasks and cross them out. That's the basic rule of time management. And remember, time management is useless if you don't have goals in your life. So you set goals. If you have target to achieve, then you know that you have important things to do and you have limited time. And remember, we all will die. So we gotta die after achieving certain things. We don't want to die without achievements. We came here in this world, so we should prove that we came here for a purpose. So the basic rule of time management is make a list of the daily tasks and achieve them. Keep your goal in your mind. Your goal should be written every day ideally. And your biggest goals, maybe write down 5 goals in your life. Maybe health, career, finance, whatever your goals are, write them down. Spirituality, relationships, just write those goals down and work accordingly. Then your time management will be according to it. Remember, time management is something that your life revolves around, if you have the time really taken care of. So making a list is important. And remember, we all have 24 hours, and out of 24 hours, 8 hours of sleeping, and maybe 2 more hours extra of refreshing and eating. So 10 hours. Now how many hours left? 14 hours, right? What if you have a full-time job? Now again, 8 hours of job, and then maybe 1 or 2 hours of traveling, commuting. So now you have only 4 hours left. So remember, an average person has 4 hours a day. 3 to 4 hours a day. What are you wasting your time for? Where are you wasting your time? So if you deliberately just spend 4 hours on your goals, rest of the life will be resolved. And the basic rule of time management is, another basic rule of time management is the bucket, the rule of bucket. Let's say you have a bucket. And you have a bag full of rocks. And you have a bag full of sand or pebbles. Means tiny rocks. Let's say sand. Now, if I ask you to fill this bucket with this sand, your eventual goal is to fill both of them in here. Your eventual goal is to fill both of these things, sand and the rocks, in this bucket, right? This is a bucket. In this bucket, I tell you to fill both of these. Now, if you fill sand first, and this fills it to the top, let's say the bag is exactly of the same size as bucket. Let's increase the bag size. Okay, now it's a bucket size. This is a very important philosophy. If you understand it, it will change your whole life. Change your whole life. I promise. Just to change my life, like the same principle changed my life, it will change your life too. So this bag, which is equal to the bucket, has rocks. This bag, which is equal to the bucket, has sand. Now I ask you to fill this bucket with both of these things. Is it possible to fill both of these things at the same time? If you put sand, now it is filled to the top, right? The whole sand is filled to the top. Okay, this bucket is filled with the sand. Now I ask you to fill these rocks or stones, these rocks in this bucket. Can you fill this bucket with these rocks now? Answer me. Yes or no? Sand is already here now, till the top. The space is occupied. Can these rocks go into this bucket anymore? Yes or no? Hello? Remember, be willing to make mistakes. Correct. You are right. You cannot fill this up because the sand has already taken space. But now, if you change the sequence, if I ask you to fill the rocks first, now you have rocks in here. Sorry. So if you have rocks in here, rocks have taken this space. Now I ask you to pour this bag of sand over it. Can the sand make its way? And can you still fill the sand? Yes, this is the philosophy of life. This is the philosophy of time management. Yes, now you can fill both of them together. The sand will find its way somewhere here and there, and you will fill it. Probably you will leave some of them, but you will still fill the whole bucket with both. Probably all of the 100%. Miraculously. How did that happen? Remember, your rocks are your bigger and important task of your daily life. Sands and pebbles are the small tasks that don't matter, like checking Facebook, watching YouTube, wasting time on useless videos, watching movies. Even laundry, groceries, they are the tiny tasks. Your research paper, your USMLE, your interview, residency interview preparation, your taking certificate courses, they are your bigger rocks. Fill your day with the rocks first, and you will see the sand will automatically make its way. You will find some time for a little bit of things. You can find some time for the groceries. You can find some time for laundry. And eventually, if some things are left, some things are even left in the end, you will realize that they don't matter anyways. They don't really matter anyways. Facebook, checking your email, checking your Facebook account, checking your Instagram did not mean anything in the end. You could have done it next day. You could have done it following day. You could have just seen it quickly, just walking around. But don't touch any of these things until these are done that day. Divide these tasks into smaller tasks, and like research paper writing, 2 hours. I have to give 2 hours. I will do nothing until this is done. Remaining hours, 2 or 3 hours, I will prepare for my exam or my interview. and rest of the time I'll sleep and I'll groom and my exercise, the mandatory things that you cannot leave, and everything else will find its way. If it doesn't, it was not worth it anyways. You could have done it some other day. If you leave laundry today, nothing will happen. You can do laundry tomorrow. If you don't bring groceries today, you can bring it tomorrow, unless you really have nothing left. Or you can call Instacart. You can use Instacart app and bring the groceries at home. That's the best thing nowadays, Instacart. For anyone preparing for USMLEs, don't go outside, order Instacart and bring the groceries home. It takes you the exact same amount of money that you are wasting on your gas and traveling. Just a little bit extra dollars and you can get groceries at home. I'm not marketing them, but so I just know about it. I use it, okay? My wife loves to use it. So that's why I'm telling you. Because she knows I'm busy, I cannot do groceries. I don't have time because I'm running CIBNP, right? So the groceries, she orders to Instacart. Save time. Okay, so the sand, if you don't bring grocery one day, nothing will happen. But if you don't work on your paper, something will happen. Your life will be affected. The rocks are the things that your life is dependent upon. If you don't prepare for your USMLE, time is coming, you have a deadline, your exam is coming. If you don't prepare for your PLAB exam, the time is coming. If you don't take the certificate course, the time is coming. If you don't go to a job, you will not make any money. That is a mandatory thing. These are the first you should do. Everything else is secondary. Any friends outing, any friends phone call, replying to WhatsApp text messages to friends, or replying to WhatsApp groups, useless groups. Everything else can be done later or should not be done at all. It will not have an impact on your life. We actually, unfortunately, fill the sand first, and then we say, oh, I ran out of time. Successful people don't ever run out of time. They have control over their time because they have control over the main things. So that's how you do managing of your time and your life. So anyone has any question now before I leave? I hope you guys enjoyed today's session, and it was an eye-opener, and I hope it was a life-changing session as well. Imagine, I have been studying these things for so many years, so imagine how wonderful life I spent. Imagine. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to God that I knew these things, and I'm sharing this with you so that you guys can also enjoy the same life that I enjoy. Anyone has any question before I leave? Anyone left? No questions? Can I leave now? Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Pleasure seeing you today. We will do another session possibly tomorrow afternoon. I'll announce and I'll let you know. It's 50-50 right now. I cannot promise, but I'll let you know. Wait for my message and let me know. Otherwise, we'll do that next week, of course, or Sunday, because I want to make sure I compensate for the missed class last week. I never miss a class unless I'm traveling. So, okay, thanks a lot. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you again very soon in the next class. Okay, have a good day. Bye.